Many frequent cruisers are wondering, does guest experience even matter anymore? And are cruise lines paying attention? These are 5 changes and cutbacks that cruisers can't stop complaining about. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I love cruising. However, there is something that I've noticed in the last little while. Please let me know if you've noticed it as well. It is that overall word of mouth and even social media just hasn't been as positive as it was before. And in particular, I do think it has to do with some of the changes and the cutbacks. In fact, what some frequent cruisers are saying is that with rising costs and continuous cutbacks, they are cruising less often. Now, I've seen more and more chatter about the overall cruise experience, and the feedback just hasn't been glowing. Now, it's had me wondering, will cruisers just get used to some of these changes and cutbacks, or will cruise lines hear the guest feedback and reviews and reverse course on some of the least popular ones? Now, in this video, I'm going to share the 5 things that cruisers cannot stop complaining about. They just can't seem to get used to. But don't worry, I do have something positive, because there was one cruise line that did actually reverse course on something that was very unpopular. So it is a victory, and I will share it with you in this video. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number 1, it is the return to the in-person muster. Now, it is Norwegian Cruise Line that is returned to the in-person muster, and I have to say, people just haven't stopped complaining about it. Not only when they first announced this, but people who've actually cruised with Norwegian since they have returned to the in-person muster station, well, the feedback just hasn't been good. Now, maybe it'll take a little bit of time for them to get into the groove again, and cruisers have said it wouldn't necessarily turn them off from ever cruising with Norwegian again, but I'll be honest, that just hasn't stopped the questioning and the complaining. So I am wondering, do you think that Norwegian might reverse course and go back to that e-muster? Please let me know down in the comments below. Number 2, the major reductions in the dinner buffet on some cruise lines. Now, there are some people who absolutely love going to the buffet at night. They don't want to go to the main dining room. They don't want to go to a specialty restaurant. They don't want to think about having to dress up, and they want to be able to choose the foods that they want to eat. And they love a plentiful and varied dinner buffet. However, many people have noticed that Celebrity Cruises has made big changes to their buffet at dinner time, and they've reduced the offerings by about half. Now, let's be honest, I don't think anybody's ever going to go hungry on a cruise, but still, many people do not like this change. Now, I did talk about this in my recent video about the Celebrity Beyond, and I have to say this was one of the aspects that was the most commented on. Number 3, dining menu changes. Now, I think that we might hear the most complaints about this because it does seem to be happening across the board to at least varying degrees on different cruise lines. But you are seeing major menu changes where some cruise lines are taking away some of the items that used to be free. In particular, the lobster. On some cruise lines, there is an extra charge for lobster, or at least an extra charge if you do want a second lobster. People just don't like that. Other cruise lines have reduced the menu offerings, making those menus look a little bit less enticing. But others have removed their classic options from their everyday menu. Yes, Royal Caribbean, in favor of a new menu. Now, in fairness, the feedback has been mixed. There are people that absolutely love the new menus. They like that variety. And there are others who say, we still want our classics. We want to know that we can order our steak every night or a shrimp cocktail. Number 4, overcrowding and understaffing. Now, as cruises are sailing full these days, people are really noticing how crowded those cruise ships are feeling. But while they can sort of take that, what they are saying is they're noticing perhaps a little bit of a lack of staff. Now, what some people have said is they've actually heard that there perhaps is a reason for this, that maybe there isn't a lack of staff, but that the staff, the crew, may be a little bit less experienced. Now, let's face it, throughout the pandemic, there were some people that were very experienced that I'm sure went and found other jobs or simply didn't return for their own reasons. And it is definitely possible that with some experienced crew not being there anymore and a mainly new crew, that things might be working a little bit slower, might be a little bit less efficient, might be even harder work for the crew that are on board that are just not used to the pace. However, we have heard that some cruise lines have reduced their housekeeping staff, and people have wondered about the guest to crew ratio. Is there still the same number of crew members that there would have been before? Number 5, reductions or changes to any of the loyalty programs on a cruise line. Now, this is a really big one, in particular to anybody who has been loyal to the same cruise line. They've been cruising maybe for years and years, trying to get up to those perks And when they finally get there, some of those perks have gone away or are changing. Now, let's face it, changes happen, especially over time, but it has left a lot of loyal cruisers feeling like the cruise line maybe isn't that loyal to them, especially if some of the changes to the loyalty programs don't give back something to the cruise passenger that they consider to be of equal or greater value. Now, by the way, for all loyal cruisers, we do have something very interesting, and that is that we have 2 cruise lines that do offer a status match program. So we have MSC and we have Virgin Voyages that offer a status match program when you do get to those higher tier levels. So if you are thinking about trying a different cruise line, and this might be something holding you back, you may want to check that out. But all hope is not lost. There are times that changes happen and that cruise lines do hear feedback and they do reverse course, at least in some cases. Now, we do have one small victory. It is that Carnival Cruise Lines, after about, I think it's been about a year of passengers complaining about this, they have returned the fun times. That is that daily planner, that schedule of activities. They have returned the paper planner to the staterooms of the guests. As you probably know, the daily planner is now available on the app for Carnival as well as most other cruise lines. However, there are many passengers who like to have their paper copy. Maybe they like to keep their phone in their cabin, or they like to simply highlight some of their favorite activities or peruse the next day's activities before going to bed at nighttime, and they would rather look on paper than a phone. Now, even though this isn't a big thing, I say bravo to Carnival for listening to your cruise passengers and giving them back something that they really like. So I'd love to hear from you. What are the changes that you think are going to stick? They're just going to be around and we'll have to get used to them. And what do you think are the things that maybe the cruise lines, after hearing so much passenger feedback, that they may just reverse course on? Now, by the way, in case you're interested, I will leave that video all about the Celebrity Beyond right after this one. It was really overall a very good cruise, and I think that you will enjoy the video. Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.